I'll tell you, I adore India. I could kiss its face. I'd just kiss its face, man. India is it's a chubby mother. It's a beautiful, wonderful caretaker. And I love it a lot. I love her a lot. And I think she's fond of me. I've been going there for 20 years. I've been going there for 20 years, I think. And it's a wonderful place, and I came to understand a lot of myself because we did a lot of service there, we worked in and around this ashram of Sathya Sai Baba. Sathya Sai Baba. And everything's free there, so, it's kind of like working with Mother Teresa. You're working with a powerful spiritual being and seeing them every day. But it's an austere life if you live there, if you hang out there. It's an Indian village. The relationship between Western people and Indian gurus is one thing, but Sathya Sai Baba wasn't a guru, really. He didn't teach anything. There was no protocol except that he walked through the crowd twice a day and he talked to people. I've heard people try to talk about Sai Baba's teachings, but he didn't have any teachings. It's a funny thing. His teachings were just help ever, hurt never. Love all, serve all. His teachings were so simple. It wasn't about teaching. His overwhelming spiritual energy to those who know Sai Baba, of course, you understand. You're having some kind of supernatural, relationship with understanding who he is. And when he walked on earth, he would walk through the people and speak to them. And I did this for, 70 years, 60, 70 years, 360 days a year. Did this thing. Walked through the crowd twice a day for some time. Talked with folks and blessed them. And showed himself to the people who would gather in tens and 20,000s a day. Just to see him walk by. Every day. Amazing experience. I've seen him myself thousands of times. I was there for years. I was there for a year one time. Saw him twice a day. Used to see him twice a day. Never missed a darshan. They call it darshan. You go in and you see darshan. It's called a visit and a sight of a holy person in a holy place in India. They use the word darshan to describe the experience of divinity, or the experience of something holy or something divine, or the presence of a holy person. And Sathya Sai Baba was certainly a holy person. And he lived more like Christ than anybody you'll ever even think of. And he was a perfect king in a perfect kingdom. And his kingdom was beautiful, and it was austere, and it was crisp and clean, and I spent many days there. Spiritual environment. It was wonderful, and he taught me to love Jesus, and he taught me about forgiveness, and he spoke to me many times, and his voice was beautiful. And he told me I was made of beautiful things. And he said, with me loving you, child, how could you ever hate yourself? Beautiful child. And he was a perfect being, lived a perfect life. And people say many things about Sai Baba, but I don't think they knew him. I don't think they really knew him. Because those who love him are having an experience with him even to this day. It's a beautiful soul who manifests as a human being, like a holy person, and had a thing and did a job. And his job was he had ashram and schools and hospitals and many schools and thousands of people a year in his schools from primary to college. And they loved him dearly, and they had special access to them, and he gave them a lot of attention as he raised them like a family and brought them from families who probably couldn't even have educated their own children, like families I know. And he brought water from far away, and he did a project that was bigger, the biggest private project ever for mankind. The biggest private project ever as a humanitarian aid. Bringing water to people who are dying. As a gift, a blessing of water, an abundance of water. An abundance of water, clean. And they praise him as a saint, and they praise him as a holy man, and they praise him as a God, because that's how they understand it. And his spirit was mighty. Oh, his spirit was mighty. It demanded respect. Oh, amazing how so many people could be under control every day. Big festivals, 20,000 people. I've been to many of them. And they are exciting to say the least. Indian festivals are great. I've been to many. I have been to hundreds. You have to love India, though, I'll tell you. But I love India. And I love Sai Baba. And I had a lot of experiences with him. And a lot of people, he didn't endorse... People think he wasn't like a Christian. They think he's a Hindu. But he didn't have a religion. There's no religion there. There's nothing to sell, and there's no business there. He doesn't have anything to say. He never asked for money. It was strange. He did all of his projects without ever soliciting any money. Without ever soliciting out. He never asked for money in public. It's a miracle. It's impossible. It's a miracle. Sai Baba. He's a supernatural cat. And he's got a lot of awesome energy. And if you can't understand God as a person, that's fine too. Jesus was a person. But Sai Baba, unlike Jesus, doesn't make any restriction that you need to believe in him or not. He doesn't say, I'm going to give you anything in particular. Jesus, on the other hand, requires you to make a decision about his name. And requires you to make a decision about his authority and presence and existence, because he says he's something in particular. He says that if you believe in him, you can come into perfect awareness and perfect fullness with your Father. And you either believe that or not. I, of course, think it's foolish to not believe it, because if you believe it just on faith, okay, I'll try it out. Then let's believe it on faith. All right, Jesus, he'll meet you. You'll have experiences of his reality, because a supernatural thing will start to begin happening, and then you'll continue because of its nature. Its nature is to grow. Its nature is to grow, and then to express itself as what it is, which is like a flower, something which is something beautiful on earth, which is called your life. And then you live that life in this ever-expanding expression of glory, which is called beauty, the beauty of the believer. So I'm going to say a little more about this Sai Baba, because it's the answer to the question, who is Sai Baba? That's why people talk about him, because people ask that question, who is Sai Baba? Because you know him and it's a strong influence, and they'll see a picture or something, or they're aware that you have some relationship with him. And if people have heard of him, they have an opinion about him because he's a strong influence in India. He was a strong influence in India, and a very famous and well-known guru, although he never left his own place. He never left his own place. He never went anywhere, except he had 2 places that he went back and forth. Maybe 3, a small one also. But anyway, he was a very finite places that he would go, and he traveled very little. Anyway, the point is, he actually, practically, never went anywhere. Never went anywhere. And he didn't ask for money, and didn't really have personal relationships, although you could know him well. We knew him well. It's because the place was his personality, and it still is. For Sandhi Nilayam is his personality. And it's a cool place, and it's an awesome place to go and hang out. Powerful. And his body's still there. And they say, it's speaking louder than ever. It's speaking louder than ever.